Hi everyone, this is Rosa Kelly. So as you know, I've made quite a few mini albums and of course I made so many mistakes. So today I'm gonna walk you through the most common mini album mistakes, how you can avoid them and how you can fix them without starting over. So what I have for you today, here as you can see, is a display of my work. I've made quite a few albums, but of course I made so many mistakes in the process of learning and I still make mistakes. So as you can see, this is my latest mini album that I share with you and I will show you what I did. So here is a count of the things that you can avoid. Too many layouts. Of course, we fall in love with mini albums because of their interaction. We want them to flip and flap and open in every direction possible. And we tend to be carried away, overexcited. So as you can see, this album is full. It is heavy. It's probably a good 8 pounds. Maybe it's as heavy as my dog. And so what happened with this album was I was so excited to have learned the technique. This was my first mini album ever, and it flips and flaps and opens so many ways. It has some chipboard stickers even inside the pages, and pockets and tags and all kinds of interaction. And as you can see, this album does not have any pictures, and the reason being is, number one, the album is already falling apart because look how chunky my pages are. I haven't even put pictures on this yet, and the album is already heavy. My spine is coming apart. So don't get carried away with the amazingness of the flaps. Save your ideas and spread them throughout the album. You don't have to overload your pages with all kinds of interactions. So this example brings me to point number 2, which is your spine coming apart. Of course our spine is gonna come apart because we added so much and the album's so heavy. It is paper after all. And so here, like I said, this is my first album. So I did this hinge method that kind of just stops here, right? It just goes like that, like a U on top of a U. And it's falling apart. You can see the glue because I tried to re-glue it so many times. So then I move on to this album. Now this is an album I did for my daughter, and of course I've never put pictures in this yet either. And so this one is also coming apart. See that? I mean, I can even put my finger in between my hinge and my spine. But what I did learn on this mini album already is to extend my hinge. See, my hinge here, different from this album, is I extended it so now it's secure all the way to here. I have like a good 2 inches. So this paper on this page secures my hinge. So even though my hinge is literally floating on air, as you can see, it's totally unglued, it will not come apart. You see that? Now, if we want to fix this because it does not look pretty, what I recommend we do is secure this part with brads, because like again, I try to glue these again, and this is back when, you know, I was still beginning. I didn't quite use the right adhesives as I should have. It's very important to invest on really good adhesives if you want an album that will last you know, a really long time. Like I want this album to be for my daughter, so I still think I can save it. So what I'm gonna do is just use 2 little brads. You can use as many as you like, but I'm just gonna do 2 to demonstrate how I'm going to fix this problem here. So I am going to simply grab the middle of the album, and I do have a little charm here, so I'm just gonna move it to the side. I'm going to take out this embellish, what is this called? Like ribbon trim, and just I'm gonna pull it out. So I'm just gonna punch a little hole all the way down. Now back here, all I have is lace. So see how can I just easily unglue my lace? If you have paper back there, you can just, you know, reglue another piece of paper on top of that and you are done. So if you have lace, it's even better because you take it out and then we can always just re-glue it. So now that I made that hole, I'm having a little mini album surgery. I'm gonna pass my little brat, see that? And I am going to secure it here on the other side. I know it's hard to see because it's, number one, I only have small brats, so the longer the better. But I'll show you how it wraps around and holds that in. Okay, if your album is really falling apart, you can add your brats to each gusset. Okay, but like I said, my spine is secure on the sides because I do have this big 2-inch that is actually keeping it together. But you know, I don't like the look of, you know, that spine just hanging on the air, so I'm gonna add another brat here, and I'm gonna take it to the back, and it's coming out, poking through here. So the good thing is, like, these brats are gonna hide behind this lace. Okay, so now that I have that, all I'm gonna do is re-glue my lace. Okay, and ta-da, you can't even see the spine, you don't see the little brats. And then here I will re-glue my lace. Okay, now if you were using a piece of paper, don't rip it off and to put your brats. Just put your brats and then put another piece of paper on top. And now, as you can see, it's all back together. See, there's no space in between. The brats really hold it down. Now, like I said, if your album is heavier than these or is really coming apart, just do your brats on each one of your gussets. Mini album mistake number 3. As you can see, this is one of my newest albums, and yes, of course I still make mistakes. So what I did with these ones is I had the wrong orientation for the page. So as you know, as I do on my tutorials, first I make the pages, or I do the binding and I put it on the side, but then I do the pages and then I decorate the pages. And before I add them to this is an album in progress. So I decorate the pages before I add them to my album. So what happened was, instead of having the right orientation, you know, where you're gonna insert, I was decorating the page like this, okay, on this album. So when it was time for me to put the page into the album, the little baby strollers are now sideways, because then I was like, oh no, it's gotta go like this. See, imagine the lion being sideways, and that's what I did here. And I did it, and if I go up close, look at the baby strollers here and look at the baby strollers there. So yeah, so they are they're the wrong orientation. So yes, of course it bothers me. Am I gonna rip everything out because of that? No. Am I gonna add another piece of paper here? Yes, you could add another piece of paper. The problem is sometimes we're very limited with paper, and because I like my layouts matching, like I feel like I want some elements of this page into here, like the baby strollers, like same thing here. I like to match up my papers a little bit. So I did not have any more baby stroller paper to redo and cover the page again. So what I did is I created a layout here, kind of like a second element to just go on top. And yes, you still see a little bit of the paper, but now it's not so obvious that it's an eyesore. So it still looks really cute, the baby stroller. It combines with the page next to it, but now the attention goes to this layout where, you know, of course the baby picture is gonna go here. Everyone's gonna be looking at the baby. No one's gonna be looking at the stroller. And then you're gonna, you know, like, and then I had a little piece of baby stroller paper, so I did wanted to match that up. So yeah, so don't rip out your work. Same thing here. Luckily, this paper works on any orientation because, again, this should have been like, you know, the way I was putting my paper, this would have been like this. Luckily, this paper works on every orientation. This one didn't. See, the ABCs is sideways. So what I did is I created just a little waterfall here to kind of compensate for that and cover the area so it's not all sideways. So yeah, so just don't rip out your work and just try to make the best of it. This mistake brought me to mistake number 4. So mistake number 4 will be adding a magnet after we already added our pages. So what happened is, since now I had the wrong orientation, this page kept flapping because I wasn't ready for that. This was supposed to be an upside down page in my eyes, so I didn't need a magnet because it was just gonna fall down. But now that it's sideways, when you turn the page, this would have continuously flap and flop and, you know, just come apart. So I didn't like that at all. So I said, I need a magnet on this page. Now, luckily for me, there's a magnet behind, you know, that I could take advantage of to catch on this side. So what I did was I just needed this page to join as well. So I just place the magnet. So, you know, I place the magnet here with the sticky side up and glue it on this page. Now, am I gonna take out this paper so, you know, so I can put the magnet? You don't want to do that because then your paper is going to wrinkle. You're going to glue it back on and it's not going to look pretty. Or you could recover it again, but again, then you're wasting a whole paper. And I was running out of paper, so I only have scrap pieces left at this point. So what I did is I added the magnet, and to cover that magnet, I created this place for pictures. So now we can come with a picture and just add it right there. So it looks like a cute little layout, but what this is doing is actually hiding a magnet that I needed to add, you know, an emergency magnet, I want to call it. So yeah, always find ways around it. Now let's say this magnet needed to be on the front cover. You know, maybe you can hide it inside a cute little sticker, you know, put your magnet, hide it somewhere, cover it with some ribbon, cover it with some sticker. Just find a way around it, but I don't recommend ripping out your paper. Ripping out your paper should be the last thing you do. Sometimes when you put the page with the wrong orientation, you want to take it out and redo. Don't take it out and redo it because then you're ruining your whole hinge. You're gonna take it out and this is gonna rip, which is gonna rip here. It's not gonna look cute, or it's gonna wrinkle. Just try to find different solutions. So my last tip is going to be, what do I do if I put a pocket upside down? You know, if you've done it, I've done it a few times now. So I don't have an exact example to show you, but I will show you with this one. So these are some layouts that I'm preparing for a new album that it's, you know, a custom order, so it's coming up. So, and it's not finished, as you can see. So over here I have a pocket page, right? I mean a page that has a pocket on it. So what happens if I'm not paying attention to this design? Let's say you glue this upside down, which when you realize that you put it in your album, now this pocket is upside down. I've done it a few times, to be honest. What I would do is I will cut another piece of paper, and this is just something that I had already punched out, so I just want to show you. I won't be gluing it, but I will cut another paper the same width as my page. So this measures 7.5, I think. So I will cut another 7.5 page. This one's tiny bit smaller, but you get the point. And then I'm gonna score and add it as a flap, and then I'm just gonna glue this whole thing down. Okay, so then we have a flap that opens down, so it doesn't look like an awkward mistake pocket, especially if, let's say, your paper's upside down. This one luckily isn't polka dot, so it wouldn't really matter. But I will add another layout here on top. just like that. And then you glue it, and yes, you're going to see this white 1/2 inch connection here that we use to add it, but you can always add a little piece of ribbon trim in there, or you can add just a little bit of the paper, so you can just cover that, you know, cover that with paper. And then so this will look like a flap going down, that, you know, you have a secret pocket here to tag some things in. And then to keep this here, you will need a magnet, of course. So right? Then on top of this page, you can add, like we just did before, to add a magnet, right? You can add a little layout here that opens to the side and just put a magnet on the top. So yeah, so don't rip off your page, don't redo it, just build on top of it. So I do also want to show you another mistake, and this is probably off the list because I was just looking at this album and I saw this. But here I put this beautiful embellishment, but what happened is my embellishment ripped out my page. You see that? When you put your embellishments, always be careful that, you know, what could happen is it's, you know, maybe might damage it. There's something that I didn't see ahead. Now, I probably won't even fix it. Maybe I'll just add a little ribbon. Like I said, this is one of my beginner albums. I will definitely put pictures on this album. This is still one of my favorites. It has all kinds of flips and flaps, and I've taken inspiration from this album to create, you know, other albums. Like I said, I think this was the first time that I did this pull down waterfall. That is one of my favorite things to do. So yeah, so I really hope that you guys found this video helpful. Please let me know what you think. If you like any more videos like this, when I just come out and give you, you know, a little bit of advice from my own mistakes. So I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.